This is The Poddy with Serene and Pearl. Get it right, Poddy.
Get in here, you wild women. It's time for the Trim Healthy podcast, and today's going to be a hoot because executive coach Kris Honeycutt dons the stage. We're so glad you're listening, and Kris, we're so glad you're here.
I'm so glad to be here.
Do you know when you said don, all I think about, thank you, Pearl, all I think about is my compression stockings for my varicose veins.
Why does that relate
Don.
to don?
You don them. You have to wear donning
Is
gloves.
that the official word?
Yeah, you have
didn't know
to don
that.
them.
You could wear them.
Kris.
Sorry, Kris, he
What
was
does
trying
that
to do
mean?
this.
What does that mean?
Well, he just says executive coach Kris Honeycutt dons the stage, and all I saw was my really ugly pregnancy varicose vein stockings.
Hey, it's time for the banter, the part you hate, but we love. Yeah.
It was
Thanks
terrible.
for ruining the podcast,
No, I
Serene.
just mean I want you to redo and don't use the word don.
Oh,
Thank
no.
you guys for listening today. This has been a great show. See you next
We're
time.
not redoing that for your mental problems. Hey, yeah, we are happy to have you, Kris. I don't know how many times we've had you on this podcast, but every time you're here, it is good meat. Because
yeah.
you bring things that real women are facing.
She ain't an executive coach for nothing.
And because you coach women, you know where they're at.
You didn't even acknowledge
Your comment,
Right.
your comment
just
like
ignore-
slapped her face. Like she was blown back.
She kind of ruined it for herself. She's got 10 levels to go before I accept her as a podcast host.
Yeah.
Don is just a rare word.
Oh, no,
that's all.
she's back. I'm so glad this is the banter part, Kris, aren't you? What do you do when you listen to our podcast? Do you skip the banter or you keep in the banter?
Beware.
Be truthful.
I skip the banter.
You.
I do.
And you're our old friend who has bantered with us for years.
I know the banter already.
Oh, so
I
you
can,
like, I know
can
what they're
listen
gonna
to
say.
it really fast and get to the meat.
You don't know banter. It's fresh every time.
Look at Denny's face. He doesn't like it.
Only part of the show
We're
that's
the
relevant.
prepubescent show hosts, and we're offended that the banter is not.
By one of our oldest, dearest friends has just told us she skips
I
the
just
banter.
gave people some freedom right there. I'm just
I'm
saying.
getting a Christmas present.
Do you know, I will sometimes get on YouTube, watch the banter, and roll. That's all I watch.
You just watch yourself.
Just to check in to be like, are we good or not? Clearly we're good. Moving on.
Oh, that's so good. All right. Ouch. That's all I'll say to that. Ouch. But let's go. Banter is skipped. Let's hit the meat. What do you want to bring today,
We
Kris?
could go home, Dad.
So, yes, I ask you to forgive me.
No. It's already forgiven, and
Okay,
it's
good.
it's
Good. Here we
definitely like fair.
Yeah. Okay.
It's fair. We have a husband, not we. We're married to
What are we
different
talking
husbands.
about?
Oh, that's key.
We have a hater in our own family. My
you
husband
do.
hates our podcast. So if you just skip the
I'm
banter,
not a
that's,
hater for
that's
sure.
kind.
I'm just a give me the facts girl.
Oh yeah,
So
I
I'm
know,
like
I'm not upset
15,
at all. I was
15,
just having
15.
fun. My husband hasn't listened to one, and that's why I can share all the good info about him.
People are using us for knowledge. They don't love us. The meat! When we really get down to business. But don't hate us for the rabbit trails.
They do. All right. So today, I have a topic that this has just been on my heart for a while. And then when we talked about doing the potty today, I thought, I really think it's for today. And it's really talking to the woman who feels defeated, discouraged, disappointed, and even just maybe sad or unhappy. I talk to so many ladies, and, because we're in the menopause season, things sometimes happen slower. And sometimes there's underlying conditions that ladies have where they can't do all the things, or maybe they can't even do hardly any of the things. Or maybe they're doing all the things and they're still not seeing immediate results. And then even in my own life, not necessarily in my weight loss journey, but in my health journey in different times where I was doing all the things and I was getting sicker and I wasn't finding answers. And even in other areas of my life. And so I was dealing with something with a said kid in my family, and it was just a very disappointing thing. And it was something that I'm working on and working with this kid, and I wanted something different. and I wasn't seeing the results I wanted, and I had been investing and praying and sowing and all the things, and that wasn't happening. It was actually looking very different than that. And this really got me pressing into the Lord, not only for myself, but for my clients as well, because I do hear this often. A lot of times, they think they're doing all the things and they're really not. And that's where a good coach can come in and really help. Sometimes there are only a few things they can do. And that's where we meet them where they are. And we say, let's start here. But this was more like just not necessarily practical, but just getting out of the pit. Like, how do you get out of the
mindset,
pit?
a switcheroo.
Absolutely.
Because I've been there.
Absolutely. It's like
relationships or just something.
Anything that you're wanting, any result that you're wanting right now that you're not getting, that's what we can talk about. And I was walking one day. So I do several walks a day. And I was on my more like prayer walk. Like sometimes I'll have a podcast, sometimes I'll Marco Polo, sometimes I'll Vox, but I was like, I'm just going to cry out to the Lord. So I was on my walk one day and I was like, I just want to get out of this defeated place and I want to let go of the outcome. I just don't want to be moved by this thing happening or not happening. I'm just so tired of that. And I felt like he just gave me this game plan. So the first thing he said was, I want you to focus on who you are in me. Who do I say that you are? Are you defeated? You may feel these things, but is this who you are? So I really had to start thinking about that. Like, Lord, who do you say that I am? And I started, of course, in the Word, and I have to say I went to ChatGPT and used that a little bit there just to get a list and just like, who am I? Okay, I am a child of God. I am seated at the right hand of the Father in Christ. I'm in Christ. He's in me. Just renewing my mind like I am not an orphan. Sometimes I act like an orphan, like, please, God, give me this, and not that he wants us to seek and knock, but my posture is more like, are you going to withhold from me?
Yeah.
Same thing, even, relating this to our weight loss journey, whatever that result is, what are we living out of? Are we living out of that defeated orphan? I can't do this. This is never going to happen for me. This is too hard. There's too many obstacles. I'm confused, whatever. So the second thing was who he is. What is his nature? Is he loving and giving and kind and a good father? Will he give you a stone if you ask for bread? If you seek wisdom, is he going to give you wisdom? Is he going to give you the breakthrough? Is he the God of breakthrough? So I just started listing. So literally in my journal every morning I'm doing this. So it's who I am in him. And some days a new nature of who I am in him would pop up. And then a new nature of who he was would pop up. And then the third part, this was probably the most powerful. And this is more of what has he said? What are his promises? What has he said to me specifically? And because he speaks to all of us. And so I had some specific things that he was saying to me, like, I want you to be faithful in little. I want you to keep sowing your seed because I'll bring the harvest. And he just kept, saying things like that. So I wrote that down. And so every time my brain went into that lack place or orphan or anxiety, he'd be like, pull out your battle plan. I want you to read aloud who you are in me and who I am and what I've said.
So can I ask you something?
Yeah.
So this is kind of in the midst of the time where you are seeing none of the results you want. That you're in the midst of the drought, the desert, or the storm, whatever you want to call it.
And we're not telling the details here, but it was a very, 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 very huge valley season for your family.
Yeah, big season. I was not only seeing results, it was looking bad. It was looking scary. And I could not, it was like, I just couldn't look at it and make a decision that this was good or bad because everything to me was, this is worst case scenario. But that's what, God was like, that's not what's happening here. And actually, throughout that process, which it was a while, I actually ended up with the results that we wanted, which we don't always get that. Right. That's the thing is like, I had to learn to let go of that outcome. And so even in a very difficult relational health, mental health situation like that, even in the little things, even in our relationships, even in our weight loss journey, if we are so tied to those results and we're just moved, we're just like the double-minded man. And my goal is really just to speak to that person, whatever journey you're on, and say, there is hope.
Can I ask you something?
Yeah.
Because this is where I want you to distinguish it for me. You're saying let it go of the outcome, right? Maybe a specific outcome, but you kept writing down, he's going to bring me the harvest. I just need to sow the seeds.
And I'm sure you kept in a practical day-to-day, sowing the seed is practical, right?
Every day.
Yeah, but who he is and who you are, he's telling you you're more than a conqueror. He's telling you all these things.
And leading you into victory.
How does that, and I'm just asking this question for myself and for others, how does that gel with letting go of a certain outcome? Because God's outcome is like beauty from ashes.
Right.
Right? And can you speak to that for a second?
Yes, because I had to go back to see what he said. He didn't say that. He says that I have plans to prosper you and give you a hope and a future. I have plans, he said. He didn't say I'm going to make your plans succeed. He said, if you commit your plans to me, I will bring them to pass. Yeah. They're his plans. So I had to be like, okay, Lord, I want this. And I know it's his will. It's his will. This is a scripture I've been using in my coaching. It's his will for us to prosper and be in health, even as our soul prospers.
So that
I'm
is
going
his will.
to declare that.
Yeah.
And over in a defeated place, even when I don't feel like it and I don't see it, that's the sacrifice we bring.
Right.
Well,
Because,
how is that
And
different to a certain outcome then?
I feel like what she's saying is she was letting go of how the outcome looked like in her human mind.
And if I didn't get
and
it,
the timeline.
and if I didn't get it, because
You'd still
honestly,
praise him, right?
I would, and that would be hard. But even though God's promises are there, we're not always inheriting them here. We see that. And I have a hard time with that.
Okay, but I
do.
get it. I see what you're
But
saying.
I'm going to believe. And that's what I mean.
You're not letting go of
No.
his promises,
No.
but they're in his time and his way.
Right.
And so you chose to be like a little child and have faith.
And in that faith, I hear you didn't let go of the practical steps that would get you there on your paper.
Right.
You had to do that because sometimes people go, okay, I'm just going to pray till, I get skinny and sit there on the
Right.
couch, and
Right.
eat potato chips. No, I mean, in your situation, you still sow seeds into your child. You
Right.
still encourage certain behavior.
Yeah.
You still, but you let go of I hear in your voice, did you let go of the frenzy and the, just the harried stress response inside of yourself?
I had to, because it was not killing me physically, but just my mood, even my body. It was just it was eating me up. It was taking me over. And so I'm not letting go of, even like, just say we're talking about somebody that has a lot of weight to lose. I'm not saying let go of that goal and desire. It is to stay in it. It's to figure out, okay, maybe I can't do all the things. And during that time, I wasn't doing all the things, but what I was doing is I was making sure I was taking care of my body. I was going for walks. I was praying. I was, calling out to God. I was doing the things. I was doing the work. I didn't feel like it. I didn't want to, but I had to just let go of, how is this? I'm tied to it being a certain way. Because I'm not going to be okay if it's not that way, which is a letting go. And then just the hope is, that he has a plan for us. And I'm sure many of you have done this, but I'm thinking about your health journey. Have you invited God into that specific health journey that you're on, that weight loss and health and hormone journey, strength training, all of that? Have you partnered with God? Are you just trying to do this yourself?
That's good.
Have you
And
done that?
oftentimes when we do it ourselves, we get so sidetracked by our own timeline.
Right, and then we start doing all kinds of stuff
Timelines,
that
our
he
own
doesn't even
timelines
want
are
us to do.
crazy.
It's not even,
so
I need to do this, I need to
Can
do
I
that.
ask you something about your journey? Because I know how hard it was. Because you're a longtime friend.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
we shared. it's such a hard time. I can't imagine in my own self being happy during that time because it's hard. Did you find when God gave you this breakthrough plan that you almost happy? I mean, were you able to live? Obviously, there's this big looming thing in front of your face and your family's having to deal with. Did you find more peace?
I was going to say happy isn't it, but I did enter
okay.
peace.
Yes.
That's the only time I would enter peace, when I would go through that battle plan, and then I would just start thanking him for everything. I mean, every morsel. And that's when I would finally and I was listening to a podcast from, she's called Faith Filled Therapist. It's neuroscience and Bible together. I mean, you guys would love it. But she was talking about how when we go into gratitude and thankfulness, it actually changes our brain. It does something to our amygdala. And it causes us to go into this higher state of, I guess, harmony in your brain. And you can see it in science, and it's just there in the Word of God, and sometimes it's a sacrifice of praise. I mean, I was in a sacrifice of praise a lot of the time. And a lot of times it wasn't even immediate. It was just that it was the only thing that kind of kept me from that frantic, freaked out space, which I would definitely go into as well.
And I feel like happy is such a giddy little human description, but joy is deeper, and it doesn't mean like everything is perfect, and there can be some concerns that you're constantly giving back to God, but I feel like there can still be joy experienced.
I would say I would go in and out of that, and I would declare, like, the joy of the Lord is my strength. But it was more, I think, the peace that passes all understanding was my pursuit. In the Word it says pursue peace. And so I was just pursuing peace. What does that look like right now? And sometimes it was to rest. I need to rest. Sometimes it was to really declare out loud. It was a lot of it looked like a lot of different things, but it was really sowing those seeds. And that's the thing. It's like, don't just fall over, and give up, and go to that place of helplessness and hopelessness, because God has a hope for us no matter what. Even if it's hard, even if you can only do one thing, it's do that thing. But it's just that message of it's his hope in us.
I love this, Kris. I love it. And I've had, a similar experience, different but similar, just hardship with a child that's just desperate, right? And I feel like and in other areas of my life too, do you find it's as simple as just a lens? It's as simple as just you're at a crossroads, and it's a choice to thank or a choice to despair.
Yeah.
It's a choice to have hope, or it's a choice to just lay down in the mire with the mud. And I find it's very simple. I'm at that crossroads a lot.
Yeah.
And it's like I could just choose this. It's just as simple as the other choice to lay down in a dismal depression.
I've learned that that's what the Lord was saying to me. It's all about your response.
Yeah.
It's your response in faith. And sometimes I think we aren't able on our own to get there. I've had times in my life, and you've reeled me in a couple times, when I was just so defeated. And I felt like the way I described it was I was running a marathon and I was just done. Like, I am on the side of the road. I am out of water, and somebody will come and bring me some water. And then I get up and I can go a little bit longer.
But that's why community is like so important. That's why like Serene and I for one another. But you as a coach to women, because you probably talk to women who are like, I'm just so tired of trying. I'm ready to give up, right? And that's who you want to talk to today, right?
Yeah, and they don't believe that they can achieve a level of health. Maybe they have this huge goal that we need to back off. But that reminds me, I talk to a lot of women, and this one client of mine, she reached out to me. I just remember, you have situations like a snapshot. You remember where you are. And it was a discovery call. She wanted to do a discovery call. So she signed up on my calendar. And that day I was taking kids to the climbing wall. So I was trying to get them climbing and go get on the call. And so I was on the call with her and I was like, I'm sorry, we're at the gym and, but I want to hear what's going on. And she was feeling really defeated and she had gained about 25 pounds. Her oldest son had stomach cancer, a rare form of stomach cancer. And she had been on plan in the past, but she also is in her mid 60s. So, things are changing. And when I called her, she said, she literally started crying. She's like, I can't believe you called me. And I was like, I was almost said her name. I'll say her name, Susie. Of course I'm going to call you. And I guess before maybe she had reached out and nobody had called her or something had happened, just, some kind of mistake. And she literally signed up with me that day. I mean, I could tell like she just needed that support. She was done. She could not figure out what to eat, how to get her exercise in. She was not exercising at all. And fast forward, so she started in my coaching program. Then her second son got diagnosed with the same thing, and then her daughter got diagnosed
Was
with
it
these.
genetic?
Yes.
No,
Yes.
what? I
Yes.
can't even.
Yes.
What happened to them?
And
Oh,
well, there's a sad story and then there's a good story. So this whole time she's in my coaching program. At first, we get her all lined out with food and exercise. I mean, she's rocking and rolling. She's lost 26 pounds. She had about 3 or 4 months before things got really hard. And she was just right on it. And every week she's on the Zoom calls. Then her son, her oldest son, he has 4 kids. It started to metastasize and they're doing trials. I mean, they're doing all kinds of stuff. It's getting worse. And so every week she's coming and she's just coming to be there with us. She's just coming to be there. And then I actually had some personal calls with her too, just because she would just send me text about how things are going, or she'd say, I told everybody about my coach and, pray for Ben was his name. He ended up recently just passing away. The other 2 had their stomachs removed and it had not metastasized.
okay.
And so that's a whole thing. You have to learn how to eat and do all this stuff. The daughter has to have her breast removed because it's that type of cancer. It gets in the lining. And so anyway, the good news is those other 2 are doing well and they have a great prognosis.
Great.
And it's super sad story, but just to have somebody there with you saying, you can do this, stay in this.
Being
I'm
a
praying
coach
for
is
you.
like being an ER.
Sometimes it is.
Just with this, just what you have, you're coming alongside people that really have, that are really in the ditch.
And you're telling
having
them
go down there
to
and help.
kind of, hey, look after
beautiful.
yourself during this hardest time, emotionally, physically, spiritually in your life. You're saying, look after yourself.
And humanistic compassion will be just tell them to go and pass by McDonald's and treat themselves to ice cream in a movie.
This
but that's not true compassion.
No, because you know what? Whatever you're going through, I was thinking about this particular person. They need her to be stronger than ever because there's grandkids. There's other, there's her other kids. And that was her why, and that's another really practical thing is when you get in that place of defeat and you feel like you can't keep going or you're not going to get what you want or all those things. It's like, what is your why? It has to be so much bigger than, I want the scale to say this. It's got to be bigger than that. Yeah. And the women that come to me in this age, because, I've been doing this for a long time, they're thinking about their grandkids. And they're thinking about wanting to show up and be able to do all the things. And they're influencing, several generations. They may still have their parents alive and then their kids and then their grandkids. Wow. It's a very powerful space to be when you're 50s and 60s. And if you're sick and you're not able to show up or you're in defeat or you have issues that you're not really managing well, how can you do what God has called you to do?
I really love that line. I just want to separate it and pull it out again. It's a very powerful place to be in your 50s and 60s. That's a great line. A lot of women, when they are over the 40s mark, they're like, well, it's all kind of, I'm just a shadow of what I once was, and my life has really passed me by, but I'm still going to be here and hanging on a little bit.
I feel my time is more powerful than it's ever been.
But I love
for me.
that line. I love how you put it. I think that we need to put that
Danny, you've been
quote down as
sitting
Coach
here
Kris.
listening to 3 women. I mean, I can tell things are going around in your head.
Yeah, what's happening is every time something of note enters my mind, you guys are just already saying it and ahead of me, and I'm just like,
But your pinstripe jeans look great. So.
I feel very goat-like, mentally speaking.
But I know that you've had your own struggles with,
I actually have a question.
Yeah.
You say invite God in. What practically, how to do that? Is that an audible thing that you say? Is that a daily check-in? What are the physics of that? How does that look for you?
Yeah, for me, it is at the at the start of something that I'm doing. There's a big invite. Okay, Lord, I am working on this XYZ, this goal, or I'm joining this program, or whatever it is. It is I'm inviting you to be with me. I want you to lead me, be my shepherd. Then there is the daily turning to Him, and the daily turning to Him is where we actually, get the shepherding. It's where we actually get the peace. It's where we get His strength when we're weak. When I don't feel like doing my prep food, or I don't feel like doing my workout, or that's when I'm turning to Him, saying, "Okay, I'm weak. You're strong.
Oh, it's so
You're
good.
I'm partnering with you, Lord, and your life lives in me." It's just reminding us of the truth that God's life lives in us, and there's an energy in there that we can tap into. And for a lot of years, I didn't tap into it, and I just felt like a rag doll in a dog's mouth. Just like every time anything happened, I'm like, everything's good, I'm up. Everything's down, I'm not. Like that.
Yeah.
But I just like, I'm tired of this, Lord. What's going on here? So that invite, that partnership is just a continual practicing His presence and turning and managing my mind. Like, what am I thinking here? Am I thinking like an orphan? Is that what God says?
There's so much weight to you saying all this, Kris. There's just so much weight because I know the story, and you're in that powerful place too of those between your 50s and 60s, and you have a lot of weighty experience to be saying this. It's not like you're just try this, try to be happy not happy. Try to find peace and be in joy when everything around you is like falling apart. And try to stay in the game. And I feel like coming from your lips, I feel like it carries a lot of weight.
And the same with you, Serena. I watched you go through your son's stage 4 cancer, and I saw the same thing with you. A complete turning back to God every second, every minute. And you were in a time where
Kris was there for me in that time too.
You were in a time where it's
a lot of phone calls to Kris.
Yeah.
It's all you could do. You either choose despair, like you said, or you choose peace. But I have to ask you something, because not all trim healthy mamas or those who come to you are professing Christians. Sometimes they're of the other faith, no faith at all. Sometimes they've wandered away, or they don't know what they believe. What do you say? Do you just say the same thing to them as you're saying to us? Like, partner with God with this.
I do. I do say that. I keep it also very light in, using the scriptures or anything like that. But most people will have a higher, being. They believe in a higher being. So it's pointing them back to that and the resiliency that's in them already, even though they may not know that it's in there. But God put that in every person, a resiliency.
Created in His image.
And they're so that just kind of pointed back to that. And if also we're just reminding them that they can be strong. They can do this. So many people think they just can't do it for whatever reason, whether it's old stories or people that have told them that, or they've proven that with trying things and failing. And sometimes they just need to know or need to hear. They just need to be validated. Like, yes, you can.
I love that.
And given practical steps too.
And I love that. And we haven't even gone practical yet.
Yeah.
But I love that you started with this mindset, because I know that Serena and I have given many people, probably millions, practical tools, our recipe books, all of our, everything. And it only goes so far. So I'm so glad that you started with the spirit and the mind, because that's
a big part of your coaching practice.
But if you don't have it, all the practical tools
mindset
just basically fall away, do they not?
I did this. I became a personal trainer when I was 21. I'm 57. So I've been doing this for a long time. And back in the day, all the training that I did was practical That's all it was. There was never any behavioral change, mindset, none of that, because I didn't know any of that. And so it was just go to the gym, do this, do that.
Just a quick little story.
Yeah.
Just to
What?
butt in, just because
Yeah.
you said you were practical and you'd be doing this since 21. Before Trim Healthy was even a concept floating around in heaven, like we were at Kris's house and she was teaching us planks and all kinds of stuff, and she was coaching us.
I was.
This was pre-THM.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
We go back.
This was 25 years ago.
Sorry
you
for
s-
interrupting. It was just a
Keep
funny
going,
little
'cause
story.
you were
Keep
on
going.
you somewhere
Yeah.
good. I wanted to hear this story. So you
You were all
just
practical and now,
Oh, yeah. And so as soon as they quit working with me, they would just go back to whatever they were doing and gain weight and not work out.
yeah.
And I was like, what is going on? Like, this is, what's going on? Then I started, I don't know how I got into the mindset part, but somehow God led me into that. It was probably personal for me. I started getting into that, and I'm like, this is the key. This is the key that unlocks the door to keep you coming back and making changes. So the mindset is honestly, to me, it's the railroad tracks. They've got to be there for somebody to have what's it called?
Sustainable.
Thank you. Yeah.
Because I asked this because the other day, and I get it. When you're on the side of the road desperate, you just need someone to come hold your hand,
Right.
whether it's practical at that moment or whether it's mindset. But someone said the other day, I think when it was the big hoopla of Serena and I talking about skin procedures, and just someone was in this place and just felt like we were so out of touch and was like, but Pearl, I'm a woman who's barely holding on. I need you to come and just give me something practical. Like, I don't want to hear this other stuff. And I thought to myself, yeah, she is. She needs someone to come alongside her right now. But it might not be just another recipe or something. It's a mindset. It's that needs to be built layer upon layer. And I know, that's what I've been working on the last 10 years.
Until you have that, you kind of have to be dragged.
Yeah.
I certainly do. I mean, I've taken years to get to, years of fail before I'm like consistently working out every week. Yeah. Just fail. Like get a stride and then just 2 months of just anything that it gets put in my hand. You could just put a iced cookie in my hand. I'll just be like, okay. And I won't think.
I don't categorize failure as, I guess, what most people do. To me, it's the whole, I think John Maxwell had a book called Failing Forward or something. But anytime we fail, it's always getting us to the next step.
impetus.
If you have that growth mindset, if you look for it that way, and if you just take that as your identity, then you might stay there. But every time, I hate failure. I hate it. But if we don't fail, then how can we adjust, pivot, learn, grow, get to the next level? And so that's why I tell my clients, like, okay, with your weight loss journey, it's kind of like this. When I'm traveling somewhere, when I come to a stop sign, I'm not all mad. Maybe sometimes I am, or a red light. I know there's going to be stop signs. There's going to be some traffic. There's going to be this. There's going to be that. That's just where I'm going. There's going to be obstacles. And so I look at it like that. Like if the scale is not moving, it's a stop sign right now. Let's keep going. What do we need to do different?
I just
It's all
absolutely
part of the
love
game,
that.
right?
That's the way I look at it.
You ever tried to stop an ant?
No, but tell us about it, Danny.
Not my mother's sister. A little black ant.
Yeah.
Or a white ant.
Yeah,
Whatever
okay.
color.
All
Forget
right.
the color of the ant.
Let's do that.
But let's say there's an ant.
Or a Mexican ant.
Yeah, whatever.
Brown.
Brown ant.
Fire ant.
There, fire ant's good. But there he is, right? And you just put your finger in front of the ant. And I always imagine, that the ant would be like, oh, hello, large godlike creature, and like fellowship with you. The ant's like, boom, and just it keeps going. And the ant will outwork you. Like no matter how long you're there trying to like get it to move, and it always just turns and
Danny,
the ant outworks you.
I love
you know?
that you said that because we grew up with a scripture by our mum, as pastors' kids. And
Yeah.
in New Zealand, you have a separate toilet room. It's not in your bathroom. It's called the toilet.
Okay.
Yes, you have a little hand basin in there, but it's just the size for your 2 hands. It only fits like 2 hands.
There's no showers with toilets. Anyway,
Yeah.
so you go to the toilet and our whole walls were plastered with scriptures, but this was one. And then she would say it to us every day. Proverbs, go to the ant, thou sluggard. Consider her ways and be wise.
Consider the ant.
But consider, and I was thinking about what you said when you invite God to be part of your journey. Why? Because he's, what is he called? Wonderful counselor. Wonderful counselor. Not just kind of good, not just $250 an hour counselor. Wonderful counselor.
Yeah.
Like the wisest counselor. And I love that. He's definitely been my.
And he's the Prince of Peace at the same
Yes,
time.
the
So wouldn't it be
Prince of
great if your wonderful counselor happens to be the Prince of Peace?
And he's
You
the
know?
shepherd that's going to
Yeah.
guide you and lead
I love
you.
that.
All these things
Yeah.
that he is, like you said,
Right.
writing down who he is.
So
love it.
when a client of mine or me, for whatever reason, is freaking out because something is not happening, I go to this, no, wait a second, what's your nature, Lord? And even just turning out of that flesh, human mindset, it just opens up possibilities. So if he is going, well, I'm kind of highlighting this right now, maybe you should try this, or maybe we let's look at your schedule and let's back off on something, or the wisdom is there in that place of faith, but it's hard to get to that when we're in that place of flesh.
You're so true. I love this. And Kris, it's reminding me, and I don't have it properly memorized, but it's reminding me of a very favorite truth that Graham Cook brings out. And he talks about frustration. He's like, there's no real frustration in the kingdom of heaven. Frustration is awesome. Frustration is you twist it around. I'm not saying it right, but he's like, it's kind of like your green light to do something different. It's like frustration. Oh, frustration. Great. Where am I meant to go next? Because it's, you know what I'm saying? It's like it's a pivotal. It's a
whole
pivot.
different mindset.
Yeah.
And when you practice that, it becomes your natural response. Mostly.
But can I ask this? Because there's
Yeah.
that, and then there's the extreme of that. Okay, I'm doing everything. I'm doing what is sound. Like, okay, I'm doing trim healthy mama. That means I'm eating carbs, proteins, fats, and veggies. I'm eating the whole spectrum of things, but I'm not seeing results. Does doing something different mean straight
It doesn't
carnivore?
have to mean different in the
because that's different.
practicality.
I mean,
Yeah,
we got to
no.
Different
I
in
know,
the
but
mind.
I'm going to bring that
Yeah.
because so many women face that. Do
they
not?
They do.
They get desperate and they
Yeah.
start intermittent fasting.
Right. And so the way that I teach this is we're not leaving this way of eating. We're not leaving trim healthy. We might be tweaking it
Yeah.
for wisdom, but these other diets are not going to serve you. They're actually going to backfire. And normally they've even tried those before. And so I don't say let's do something different like that. Let's figure out what we do need to do. This is the way, walk in it. Let's stay in it. That's the whole mantra. This is the way, walk in it. Let's stay in it. Now, if we need to pivot along the way, a good coach is great for that, or a community is great for that. But giving up, think about what happens when you give up. You start all over and you start the whole thing over, which I've seen so many different times. So I'm always a stay in it. I don't like it when people say that to me, but I know that that endurance, it produces the patience in us and perfects us.
Yes.
And over time, and sometimes, your body just needs healing time. Sometimes there's underlying things going on, which as a coach, I kind of like to dig in there and see like what's going on with your thyroid. What are your hormones doing? Do you have an inflammation? Are you sleeping? What's your stress level? Different things
Can
like
I
that.
ask you something? You get quite a lot of women who are kind of stuck and defeated coming to you. Would you say that? Because obviously if a woman's rocking it, she doesn't need Kris.
That's who I get.
Right?
Yeah. Or feeling defeated and overwhelmed.
Do you ever get someone, so you dig, so you tweak, so you ask them to partner, so you help them change their mindset. Do you see what they are stuck? They are 100%, Danny's big finger is in front of them and they're not an ant. They're just stopped in front of Danny's big finger. Do you see them get that harvest, Kris?
Absolutely.
Is it
Absolutely.
almost always if they put in the time and the patience and the tweaking?
I'm going to say about 90%.
Yeah.
That's a big number.
Big number.
80 to 90%. Some are just stuck and they may not want to get unstuck.
Yeah,
Okay.
what causes
Yeah.
the 20%
Yeah.
failure? What's the
Okay.
main stuff?
I would say, I don't know, some is they don't want to be unstuck, and some, whatever we're doing is just we either haven't given enough time or we haven't gotten to it.
But
it's a
maybe
small
those
amount.
20% would be way worse. Off.
Oh.
And they're not gaining. It's
Like,
just they may not.
yeah.
But no, they leave. Most of the ladies, when they graduate coaching with me, it is they are down in their weight. They may not be where they want to be yet, but they're down in their weight. More importantly, they have the good habits. They are healthier than when they came. Their mindset, they can manage their mindset. They can, create their health regimens just easier now. They're every single person is unstuck in one or more areas, and it just depends on how much they put into it, and then their own bodies. Some people respond quickly and very favorably like that right now. And this one group I have, and this is not common, I have 3 ladies that have gotten to maintenance in the 6 months we've been together.
Wow.
And right,
And they were fully stuck
and
before.
that's
Are they doing all the things? Like, are they doing bioidentical hormones and thyroid and all that? Or is it just like tweaking their movement and lifestyle? Do some people get it without everything? And
Yes.
some people have to do everything,
Yes.
right? Yeah.
Some people have to do everything.
Yeah.
These two of the ladies are doing a lot of the things. And then the third one is she's just doing diet and exercise and just really, managing her stress levels. And I couldn't believe this when she told me, but some doctor just put her on hormones like 6 years ago.
Oh, yeah.
Right. And so she's not been tested. She's a little bit older. I think she's maybe 67 or something like that. So anyway, we started with the food first, the exercise, the lifestyle habits, and now we're digging into the hormones. And so but she's already at maintenance.
Yes.
She's trying to figure out how to stay there. She's doing great.
It's funny because you can read a book. We've written lots of books, and some people just take a book and go with it. We listen to Empowered Wife Laura Doyle because she's really helped us with our marriages. And usually the people that come on her podcast are just women, talk about their experience, and so many of them say, it wasn't until I listened to this podcast and heard another woman's journey or I got a coach that things turned around. Some, just a very few, strangely, read the book and had their epic marriage transformation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's this.
I think it's the
coaching
the
is actually
connection, the relationships.
Yeah.
The relationships.
I have
are
to see it
important.
another woman. Like Serena and I, we had each other, right? I couldn't have done this. I
No,
wouldn't be
we've
my
had a
healthy
coach
self
this
with
whole
you.
time.
You guys have studied other women as well and read so many books, and I would say very few can take the information and implement it.
I really feel
It's a lot sometimes.
Yeah, I feel like it would be a very true statement to think we have never done our health journey without a daily coach.
Yeah,
I mean,
you
how
and
many
I.
how many times do I call you a day? How many times do you call me a day? And it's always about questions of each other's life and health and
That's
emotional
why
health and everything.
we made this rule only a few years ago because people would come to us in our community. Pearl and Serene, can you help us? They know we are trim healthy. They haven't read our books, and we would just we're going to help them. We'll take our full day. We'll take them into the kitchen, and we'll do this. Now you're going to eat this. We'll write out menus, right? But we no longer do that. We say you're either going to invest in our books, pay the money, and do it yourself, or you're going to hire a coach because we know it will not be successful for you if we just tell you something without you investing the money, the time, the effort.
They just don't do it. And I'm like that too.
Yeah.
I mean, we just don't do it. Now, I think I'm a little different just because this has been my passion. So I've, over the years been digging out the gold. And I just love digging out the gold and giving people the nuggets and then helping them implement it and helping them have hope so they can stay in it. Because if you don't have the hope, then you don't stay in it and then you don't get the results. And it's more than just, weight loss. It's our health. If we don't have our health, what do we have? It's so important. I want every woman to be powerful and live out their God-given destiny. And that's where it comes from. And so I don't tell people what to do. I coach them. And I say, here is your investment time. Go read this. Go do this. And then they do it and they come back and we're like, good job.
Hold on. We need to revisit that. You don't tell people what to do. You actually give them little tasks for them to dig something out.
I do both.
Okay.
I will tell them, I will show them
Yes.
a way to build their menu. And then I'll say, here's some resources. Because if you don't teach them to fish, how are they going to do it? Like if I'm going to do it for them, they're going to be dependent on me.
Yeah.
And that's not my job. I want them to learn. So I'm going to say, so one thing that I do is in this the 6-month group coaching I have right now, when they come in, so I bring a bunch of people in at one time. I have a session where I have 5 ladies on Zoom, and I show them how I call it my fat loss targeted menu. I just teach them how to create their menu based from Trim Healthy Wisdom. I just take them through it. Here it is right here. Here's your menu. Here's your choices. Here's kind of your grid of what you're going for. Take this. Your homework is to do that. Post it in the group. Let me look at it. Each
That's
week,
so smart.
I'm looking
You're
at
making them do something. You're not handing it to them.
Yeah.
This is so good because I thought that our coach's job was to hand them things.
There is a time for that. There's a time to feed the baby
there's
bird.
a baby step. Okay, sometimes, but you have found that
it's
it's not effective for long term.
right.
Interesting.
Because they don't
it's
learn
interesting.
anything. It's like they come back and so when they're involved with it and it's not too much. That's the thing, you
Yeah,
don't
of
want it to
course.
be too much. Then the weekly coaching, they can come and get questions answered, and they can I can feed them that way.
Yeah.
But it's not every little single thing.
Do you know what the biggest motivator for me, as I sit here and think of like what gets me to just do it? Like at what point do I go taking action now? From like, oh, I wish, and overnight I wish I could turn into this, or I could have that with whatever I'm working on health wise. And unfortunately, it's quite negative. But it's very real. Like and it reminded me of it when you said, if you don't have your health, what do you have? Well, my dad about a month ago had a stroke. He's 69, and he speaks Spanish and English, just about lost his ability to speak English. Okay. He's working on that. He's getting that back. But what does that equal? That equals not talking to your son. So what's at stake is what I always ask myself.
Profound.
So it's like, it's one thing like in your 30s to be like, oh, we all die someday. And like you got to get out of that redneck mindset of like, we all die someday. I might as well eat my cheeseburger, because where the reality hits is in your 50s, even 60s, you absolutely could have a stroke because you're not taking action now today. And what's at stake, if you can't talk to your son, you've lost a son.
And the risk for a stroke and heart attack
It's
is even higher for
it's
women
very
once
real.
they reach that
It's
age.
very real.
menopause.
This isn't like a scare thing. For me, it's what motivates me to like, bro, you have to sweat this week. Like I start to think like, no, precisely what do I need to
Because
do?
fatherhood is everything to you.
Fatherhood is everything. I don't want to have a stroke. Like now in my brain, I'm like, my dad had a stroke. The risk of stroke for me, whether it's real or not, it has gone up in my brain. And so I say like, oh, I have to sweat this week. And even like, I don't want to like lose weight and get skinny. So I never want to jog. But now I'm like, if I have to be a little skinnier, but I have to sweat to avoid cardiovascular problems, which I've had symptoms of cardiovascular problems already, I think. But if I'm paying attention to Chat GPT and what it's told me, I like just little things.
Sweat while lifting weights, though,
Cool, I
mate.
sweat.
You can sweat.
I
Yeah.
sweat
You can
more
just do
lifting weights.
some type of sprints where you're not
Yeah.
doing long jogs and
Yeah.
stuff, but you just do some like 8 sessions of sprints.
Do you think sweating is key though?
I think sweating is important.
Well, then maybe
I
just
have a
the
sauna for
sauna.
sweating. I have a sauna. I love my infrared sauna, and I'll do workout and sweat. But I think sweating is very important.
Yeah, I sit out in the summer like a lizard every year. I mean, I'm just always out there. But
I think that's what's at stake is so good though, Danny, because there's another way of looking at, well, what's your why, right? Like many of us in this age, we want to be there for our grandchildren, for our older parents too.
Right.
For those who need us, our adult children, we need to be there vibrant and strong for them. And that's for younger women too, of course. But, I'm just thinking the other side of it is if we're not vibrant and strong, what does that look like?
Yeah. My micro why is like, my son's not going to beat me at arm wrestling. That's my like right here, right now,
great.
today. They're not beating me at arm wrestling.
Yeah.
So far they can't. My macro why
Yeah.
is I want to talk to their kids.
Yeah,
I want to be able to talk to my grandchildren and tell them stories and be a legend in their life and show up on this planet, not just for like the world, but specifically for my family.
But I think there's two ways of looking at it, because I have focused, and I think it's really good motivation. Like Serena and I have been off exercise for 6 weeks because of a procedure what we did. We're now going to get back into it, and part of my why getting back to it is like, what's at stake? My muscles are atrophying. I can even feel them. So I don't want the heck that.
Right.
But
I can sit here and just go flab flab right now, and usually I'm sitting here with a nice
all
muscle.
the studies about muscle and how it's our longevity organ. It's
Yeah.
not just about having it right now, although we want that. We want to be strong. We want to travel and be able to put our suitcases up, and we want to be able to do all the things.
But I was saying, I have looked at it too much on the fear side before, because I used to just spend my life envisioning, for some reason, live in fear. Like, maybe I'd get breast cancer and I'd see my family at my funeral, and Grandma Prissy, that's my name,
that's
passed
the negative
away.
arc of
It's
that.
a never.
Yeah.
But now I
Sure.
don't even let that into my head. I'm
It is
always
a
like
cut it off.
envisioning
Yeah.
being at my
Yeah.
grandchildren's
Yes.
weddings.
And
I'm
Yes.
envisioning
This is
all of them around me all the
important.
time.
This is important. This imagination
Yeah.
and envisioning.
Yes.
Even for my clients, I have them do that. Envision you
Yeah.
where you want to be or close to where you want to be. How are you going to feel? What are you going to be doing then? What are you going to be wearing?
Yes.
And go there in your brain, because it actually changes our
Yes.
brain when we do that.
Yeah.
That godly imagination.
And it changes your cells and your body. I mean, we're wired. What our brain thinketh, so we are.
So we are. And so so if we're thinking on the fear and the
Yeah.
negative, which is what I was, really struggling with, that's what was coming up.
Yes.
I was worst case scenario, waking up in the night and,
Yeah.
half my kids are dead and, all the
Yeah.
things.
And fear has a harvest,
It-
just like faith does.
And I had to just stop that. And I love it what this faith-filled therapist said this morning. I read this, and David talked to himself, and he said, "Why are you downcast, oh my soul? Hope in God." And so she said, "I talk to myself every morning." She said, "I wake up anxious every morning." I'm like, "I do too." And she said, "I say soul, mind, spirit, hope in God."
Yes.
And I love that, because it gives you that permission to be human.
Yes.
And then to shift out of it.
I want to touch on that too, because this is a therapist saying, well, people wake up anxious. I do too. This lady who's obviously doing all the tips and tricks for, the mind and practicing mindset things every day. And I love that, because the difference between successful, positive, happy people is not the lack of anxiety beating at the door.
Right.
It's the fact that they push it out.
Yes.
They say, like the Bible says, put off
Yeah.
this and put on. And so, I think, because a lot of times think, well, I'm just an anxious person, or those happy people, they mustn't have those thoughts. No, they do.
Right.
They just practice putting them out. Yeah.
I was just reading from another book. I'm into all this right now, obviously, and she was saying that happy people, they think happiness is kind of more of their state of being, and that the negativity is just fleeting.
Yes.
But people that focus on the negative think that the negative is the way to be and the happy is fleeting. And she said you can train your brain by thinking on these things that are good and praiseworthy and excellent.
And
like
you
that's
have
how we
to,
change
or your
it.
life's going to suck.
It is.
That's just simple, right?
And,
there,
and
Jen.
marriage, like,
That is
you know,
profound.
I always mention Laura Dole because, you know, her whole, what's her branding to end well divorce. So
Yeah.
so she
Why
helps-
not listen
she-
to her if that's
she
her
helps
branding?
people stay in marriage. So I feel like, okay, I want to stay in marriage and I want to have a beautiful one. And it's all to do with what you're saying. It's all to do with gratefulness. It's all to do with lens shift. It's all to do with making yourself happy.
And it's not saying those wives don't think negative thoughts about their husbands or their marriage or whatever, but it's changing the lens as quickly as they come.
And what
practicing
we're saying,
turning
you
it
know,
around.
what we're saying, what we're getting in agreement with.
Yeah, what are we agreeing
That's
Yes.
with?
powerful.
That is
Oh,
profound.
agreeing with. Yes.
Yes.
And it's even agreeing with our own mind.
So
or,
things can.
or current culture or what you read on you know, your husband's definitely a narcissist because you just took this 4-question quiz
Right.
and he's a
Yeah.
narcissist. End
Right.
of story.
Right.
You agree with it? Well, he is.
Right.
Well, agreeing, and it's nesting, you know, which is the same thing as agreeing. It's taking those thoughts in and ruminating on them. You know.
Yes.
That's where the danger is.
ECCH, you said you're 57.
Executive
Coach Kris Honeycutt.
Kris Honeycutt.
That was close. We were all like, okay.
Yeah.
You're almost 60.
Yes.
Sorry to round up.
Yeah, that's okay. I'm proud of it.
To what do you attribute your youthful countenance?
Well, thank you, Danny.
Love it.
I think that I have got some good genetics. My mom is 77, and she does not look 77.
Looks like your sister.
She is amazing. She still plays pickleball. She has some good genes. I think that I have been sewing into my health for many, many years. It really wasn't until Trim Healthy that I got consistently healthy, because before that, I was all into just all crazy diet.
We were all in it
crazy
together.
exercise, punishing my body with exercise.
Yeah.
So in the last 18 years,
You had a violent health interest.
I had totally. It's a little bit extreme.
That's
So
so
what
true.
would you be? You said your mom has good genetics,
I have
but
good genetics, and then I have been sewing into my health with the right food and exercise and trying to practice all these principles that we're bringing. That you're bringing.
Do you feel
in
like
your
Trim
book.
Healthy Mama kind of settled it all because it was sort of a club to be in? There was a group that was doing it?
Well, yeah, my besties, but also it was balanced.
Okay.
Like, this is real food, people. We're eating real food. We're
Hard to
getting
argue with
nutrient.
that.
We're getting vitamins.
Yep.
We're getting minerals. And now that we have the protein plants in power, the
yes.
3 Ps, it's like, absolutely. So it was a club, but it was a sustainable, healthy turn for me, because I had been whacking my blood sugar out we were on the raw, and then the nursing traditions about killed me. And remember when I went crazy with the fermented foods, and I was having like a quart a day?
Yes, you
And
turned
I was
into a
like,
pickle.
my stomach is so upset.
can I ask you a question though?
Yeah.
You said you have good genetics, but I got to ask you. I know very well that you've had diseases like Raynaud's disease and Hashimoto's.
yeah.
You've had
I
a
have
bunch of stuff. So
autoimmune,
that
adrenal,
right there is
NTFHR.
choosing to
Yeah.
wear a label like I have good
Yeah.
genetics.
I
It's
love that.
partnering
That's
with
why
something.
she looks so
Because
great,
I'm
because she's
telling
partnering with
you.
the good side of her
You
genetics.
guys have seen me go
Nice.
through the health crisis I
Yeah.
did for 10 years.
Oh, yeah.
And then off and on.
Because
Yeah.
you could
Yeah.
totally be one of those women that said, I have really challenging genetics.
No, she sees the beauty of her mother, and she chooses to look at the good parts, not the autoimmune parts of the genetics and all that.
Yeah,
Because
I've-
I have to talk about DNA methylation.
Yeah.
That's our
Yeah.
genetics, right?
Yeah.
So they are, science has found out now they're not set in stone. They are influenced. They are influenced by what we eat. They are influenced by how we think. And I believe, Danny, you asked that. I'm going to speak for Kris now. I believe she has influenced
Yes.
her genetics. And she's sitting here looking healthy and
Beautiful.
joyful. And she's gone through challenge after challenge in her life. And I feel like by your fruits you shall know them. And you bear good fruits, Kris.
Thank you.
And she walks up
Thank
the
you, thank
mountains.
you.
Just
Thank you,
saying,
Lord.
her house, you're still in Pegram, right?
We are.
It's like down in a little
Yeah,
valley, and to
yeah.
get to it, you have to
Yeah.
come down hills.
You
And I
do.
know your walks that you say you
You
take
know,
lots of
yeah.
walks. There's hills
Oh.
involved.
Oh, I do.
So-
yeah, I did this on ChatGPT. I can't remember what the mileage was, but for 29 years, I've walked 15 miles a week for 29 years. How many miles is that? It was something like, I don't even remember the number, but I told my friend, she's like, that's almost all the way around the world. I'm like,
That is so
walked all around the world.
fantastic.
Because that's a lot of miles.
I love that.
And I've been doing that for years.
And that's consistency right
It's
there.
been consistency. I think consistency is key. And I know that's so hard for people, but it's practicing that. It just really is. Nobody usually just comes out of the womb and they can just be completely consistent with stuff. It is failing, starting, failing, starting, failing, keep going, keep practicing. I don't even say, I'm not consistent, even though there's areas I'm not. It's just because I've decided I'm not giving up on being consistent. But I think the consistency is the key, not perfection.
Yeah.
I'm not 100% on plan all the time. I'm like more of an 80-90% girl, but that's what I do.
Yeah.
If I'm off, it's a special occasion. It's, a vacation or something like that.
That's your food freedom.
It's
That's
my food
mine.
freedom, yeah. And
You're
I
the
don't-
little peach ant that could.
Yeah.
the peach ant they
she
could. I
is.
love that.
That's
all
right.
about the
You
ants
have all
today.
these little.
And Danny's,
These
whatever
little
he's
names.
saying today, because he hasn't got many words in, he's doing them with such this expression like, this is very powerful what I'm going to say, and I'm going to keep a serious face. But it was good. Hey, thanks, Kris. Hey, Kris,
Yes.
where do people go? You're our longest coach. You were a
Yes.
coach before
You're
anyone else.
talking about the club.
Yeah.
The club, original club was this three, and our sister Vange.
I think I'm the middle sister. That's what I'm going to call me, the
Yeah.
middle sister of you guys.
Yeah.
I
So,
like
so
that.
what's your
yes.
coaching?
Yes, mine is getyourtrimon.com. I have a website, and I've got a free Facebook group. It's called Menopause Makeover. So if you want free stuff, come in that group, and I've got
Nice.
coaching opportunities. And yeah, and I love being with you guys. Every time I'm with y'all, I'm always so inspired. You guys inspired me to just even do what I do.
Are you going to be
You.
at next year's
You.
party?
You, what party?
July
Did
party?
Did they not invite
What
me?
party? What
Is
party?
this top secret?
Oh no, she should be
Oh, my
invited. You got
gosh.
yeah.
She's
that-
speaking
At
probably.
at the
No,
conference.
Yeah.
No, yeah, she's
Oh.
gonna be at the conference. She's
Yeah.
gonna be one of the keynotes. But
Yeah. We're
no,
gonna be at
there
the
is a
party.
trim healthy, not a trim healthy. The overarching thing is Bara. Were you invited? You're supposed to be
No, I'm
invited.
talking about the conference.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
Chris is
The
kinda like-
gathering.
Chris is like running
Yeah.
the
I'm
gathering.
on
What
the
you-
board.
Yeah,
Talk
she's on the
about.
board of the gathering.
I'm helping the coach.
She's
Amy
designing
and,
the special like thing where you
Amy's
you sit and they
designing-
throw the
Thing at Danny.
and it
The dunk
dunks
tank
you,
that
the
I'll be
dunk
in.
Tank, yeah.
Yeah.
You're going to be in it.
We should get a dunk
We
tank.
are going to be there for sure, and I can't wait. I think that I'm so excited about that. The gathering
Yeah.
is coming up.
It's
gonna
July,
be-
right?
It's
July.
July.
Hold
It's going to
July
be
in the
amazing.
calendars, guys.
I want to hurl insults at the ladies
Yeah.
Oh, from your dunk
in the
tank.
dunk tank. No, not just in general. I'm talking about the dunk tank.
All right.
Good
well,
luck
hey,
with
we're,
that.
We're an hour in. We will
Okay.
we will have you on.
Yes.
How about you sit and do a double with us, and we'll have you on again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do it.
Righteous.